put him into pole position.
World Championship matches in July don't come much bigger than this. The most eagerly awaited All-Ireland qualifier game of them all is finally upon us. There were 21,000 people in the ground 10 minutes ago, a crowd of about 25,000 expected come throw-in time, and Liam Hayes, the stage set for an absolutely huge game in the context of Championship 2012.
It's just magnificent, Mike, and for everybody here on the ground this afternoon, it's a real case of Christmas having come early. To have Tyrone and Kerry meeting before July is out is just so special for Gaelic football fans.
And the home crowd wondering if Kerry can make home advantage count again tonight, or will Tyrone and Mickey Hart plot yet another of their famous ambushes. Those two late changes on the Tyrone team just keeping everybody on their toes, as we take a look at the match referee David Coldrick, who's already officiated at games including these teams already this summer. He was in charge of Kerry against Cork and Tyrone against Donegal, knows them well and is sure to have a busy evening. His linesmen Richard Maloney from Limerick and Michael Duffy from Sligo. Away we go. Who will live to fight another day and whose summer will come to an end? Kerry will play with the aid of the breeze in the first half, as Kieran Donaghy gets an early touch, trying to drag it in, shooting into the Lewis Road end. The first shot in anger from Donaghy drifts out to the right and wide. Well, just to recap on those two late changes, Ronan McNamee, wearing 25, replaces Cathal McCarran, while up front young Darren McCurry, just 19 years of age, he's in for Stephen O'Neill, and O'Neill's absence, Liam, a huge blow. It's colossal, and when we saw Mickey Hart before the game, he looked quite happy, he looked up for the game. So Tyrone are the sort of professional team who will take that in their stride, but O'Neill's loss is absolutely incalculable as far as Tyrone fans are concerned. Well, there's a real buzz around Fitzgerald Stadium. Big home crowd in. Declan O'Sullivan twisting this way and that. The umpires like it, the crowd like it. Kerry lead. A little over a minute gone, and it's O'Sullivan who gets away from his marker and makes it look very easy. A classic Declan O'Sullivan move there too. I mean, he's so good on either foot. Just moved on to the left and popped it over the bar. And we were looking at the ground earlier, and there's a swirling wind, but it's not really affecting any direct portion of the pitch. And O'Sullivan made that look quite easy from about 30 yards out. Just looking at the early matchups, Conor Clark is tagging Kieran Donaghy. Conor Gormley has gone back on Colm Cooper. Dermot Carlin out around centre back. He's the closest Tyrone player right now to Declan O'Sullivan, but it will take a while just for things to settle down. At the other end, Aidan O'Mahony is marking Owen Mulligan, and Mark O'Shea is picking up young Darren McCurry as Aidan McRory goes driving forward, trying to hurdle the challenges. Eventually his gallop stopped by the challenge of James O'Donoghue, and this will be a free in to Tyrone. They had some problems in the free-taking department, particularly against Donegal, chopping and changing free-takers. Joe McMahon has been going relatively okay. Didn't catch that one well though, and it's a wide apiece. Not quite, he just drifted, he hit it with the outside of his right foot and just drifted probably about a yard wide. Joe has been doing quite well on the frees for Tyrone, but it's asking a lot if somebody's doing so much labouring around the middle of the field to have the composure to pop those sort of opportunities over the bar. Possession coughed up by Shane Enright, and now Tyrone will try and play on the break. Colm Kavanagh makes an angle, that looks good. Kavanagh drills it over the bar. That's the equaliser. Kerry going short with the kick out, and it all went horribly wrong. It looked good, but also looked a little bit too easy, Mike. He really, there was a very much half a tackle there by Donegal Walsh, I think it was, and he just popped it over the bar from 30 yards. I mean, there was nobody really pressurising him at any stage. Well, Brendan Keeley decides to try a short kick out again. Once more to Enright, and this time Kerry hold possession. Brosnan clipping it down the line towards Declan O'Sullivan. Carlin goes with him. O'Sullivan does well to keep it in play, wins his free, taken quickly. Kerry trying to force the pace. This is Paul Galvin. Laid off to Cooper. Conor Gormley trying to make himself big. Cooper shoots, and Cooper scores. Well, he's a master craftsman. He knows every nook and cranny of Fitzgerald Stadium, and he's just kicked Kerry back in front.
It was a classic Kerry move, and the important thing, from not only did Cooper put it away beautifully with his left foot, but the important thing was that you had Declan O'Sullivan, you had Paul Galvin, and then Cooper finishing it off. So if you wanted to really lift, you know, the entire Kerry team and the young lads in the Kerry team, to see three of the big names combining like that so early and making that look so good, that's going to give Kerry a little bit of momentum early on.
Player down receiving attention is Tyrone's Dermot Carlin.
He just twisted there, Mike. He was chasing Declan O'Sullivan, and Declan O'Sullivan has such good balance going left to right that Carlin just twisted under him. It was an unfortunate fall. O'Sullivan was fine, but I think he just pulled something in his knee, it seems.
Well, that stoppage in play just presenting a few opportunities for players to get to know each other a little better. Crowd reacting as Sean O'Neill and Donncha Walsh went hopping off one another as that ball is claimed by Anthony Maher, made it all his own. Long ball in towards Donaghy, operating on that left wing, stroked in by Donncha Walsh, just over the arms of Dermot Carlin. That's James O'Donoghue, who bends his back and gets his free. The challenges flying in thick and fast. David Coldrick did not like the manner of that one from Conor Clark.
Seemed a bit unfortunate from a Tyrone point of view to me. I mean, you know, James O'Donoghue was going down on the ball, and, you know, Clark came in. He was going to look to shoulder charge him. He did make physical contact with him, but I thought David Coldrick, certainly gave Kerry the benefit of the doubt there. It didn't look a free in to me.
And a very straightforward opportunity for Brian Sheehan. That's a goal and 10 points now in the championship this summer. Nudges Kerry into a 2-point lead. First 5.5 minutes have flown by.
And a real pep to Kerry's stride. I mean, they really do seem to be up for it. They were out in the field. They did a good 25 minutes of a warm-up. We thought it was a very long warm-up. But you know what? They do seem to have settled very quickly, and they're moving, and they're getting the ball to all their big marquee players. So Kerry are really settling right into the game.
Kick out from Pascal McConnell finds its way eventually to Colm Kavanagh. Tyrone will try and attack from deep, find gaps and exploit spaces. Man on the ball here is Joe McMahon, filling in as captain for Tyrone in the absence of the injured Stephen O'Neill. Plenty of movement inside as Darren McCurry, man who stole all the headlines against Roscommon last weekend with those 4 points off the bench. McMahon has continued his run. Brian Sheehan trying to force him wide. This is Matty Donnelly, recycled to McMahon once more. Loose man on this near side was Sean O'Neill. Nobody picking him up. Nice sidestep. O'Neill drills it low and drills it wide. Tyrone's second.
And very, very loose marking from the Kerry defence again. I mean, Joe McMahon had the ball, he had lots of time in the ball, and he was able to hit a 30-40 yard ball crossfield to Sean O'Neill. Sean O'Neill had time to really pop that over, but he really sliced it badly.
Brendan Keeley taking plenty of time and care over this kick out. Breaks kindly for Owen Brosnan. First time ball to James O'Donoghue, who's moving around that forward line. Back to the playmaker, Declan O'Sullivan, spotted the run of Donaghy. Trying to break off the shoulder of Conor Clark, but the young Tyrone fullback has looked very assured so far this summer and tidied up very neatly there. Loose hand pass from Joe McMahon, gobbled up by Cooper. Here's Tomas O'Shea making his 81st championship appearance for Kerry this evening. Poor pass by Paul Galvin. Ronan McNamee just struggling initially to hold on to that ball. These two teams, of course, have won 7 of the last 9 All-Irelands between them. This is their first meeting, though, in the championship for 4 years. And everybody in Tyrone and Kerry counting down the days to this round 3 qualifier. So much at stake. This time Ronan McNamee tries his luck down along the left hand side. McCurry again is a moving target in that full forward line. Ball breaks to Mark Donnelly, manages to punch a hole in the cover, riding the challenges. Run comes on the outside from Matty Donnelly, but it was covered and the chance is gone. Good defensive work from Kerry and appreciated by the home crowd as Declan O'Sullivan stretches his legs in the evening sunshine here in Killarney. Here's Cooper drifting out from that full forward line and bringing Conor Gormley with him. His run stopped unceremoniously by Martin Penrose, and that is a Stonewall free.
Good movement from Cooper there, and certainly Conor Gormley, landed on top of him. Probably his knee landed in the middle of Cooper's midriff there, it seems. So one or two Kerry boys came in to make sure that Gormley didn't stay there for long. Tyrone have looked very, very laboured though in their build-up as well, it has to be said. Conor Gormley now getting the word from David Coldrick, and rightly so, because he went in very late down on Cooper and didn't do any damage to Cooper, but it was a clumsy and it was an ugly sort of manner in which he landed on him.
And a yellow card at the end of the conversation for Conor Gormley.
And that's going to soften his cough, because that's something that Conor Gormley shouldn't have got. He shouldn't have taken a yellow card there. It was totally unnecessary. And the way Cooper was sprawled on the ground, even if he did want to hurt him, he wasn't going to get away with it with broad daylight.
Well, Conor Gormley will now have to be on his best behaviour, and this doesn't look good for Tyrone. Dermot Carlin, who was in the wars a few minutes ago, looks like he can't continue any longer. And it's time to unleash Ryan McMenamin, man who has plenty of history, of course, with Kerry. Featured in all those big championship matches between the two teams over the years. And safe to say, not the most popular man in Fitzgerald Stadium, Lee.
No, there's a few people in Fitzgerald Stadium who aren't that popular, and Ryan McMenamin will be top of the pile.
Brian Sheehan, 55 metres or thereabouts, kicking with a breeze at his back, and McConnell had to stretch every inch of that gigantic frame to grab it, and Donaghy was in very quickly to make a nuisance of himself. Conor Gormley didn't like the manner of that tackle either.
I didn't see too much in him, Mike. Kieran Donaghy had to come. Okay, he did. He actually got his hand up to the keeper's face, which don't know whether he meant it or not. It was a stupid sort of ugly sort of effort from Donaghy, and you can understand why the Tyrone defenders got a bit upset by it.
Well, all of this cranking up the intensity as Ryan McMenamin and Colm Cooper renew acquaintances. David Coldrick separates them pretty quickly, and away we go again. Gormley once more right in the thick of it. This time he gets his free and trying to clear Paul Galvin out of his road in the process. I think a lot of these players, Liam, may be picking up where they left off 4 years ago.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We were talking obviously before the match, and we felt that Kerry would be, in charge of the physical exchanges in terms of making sure that they were making that count in their favour early on. But it's been quite a clean, open game. Kerry have been really looking at playing the ball, and if anything, Tyrone have actually upped the physical stakes in the last couple of minutes, and they're getting a bit tight on Galvin and also on Colm Cooper.
9 minutes now since Tyrone's only score in the match. Conor Clark loves to get forward and join the attack at every opportunity. Sets Mark Donnelly on his way. Donnelly, he's a very hard man to pin down. Here's Peter Hart, another of the players who likes to keep moving. Back to Clark, who's gone for the score and got it. That's the second point of the championship for Conor Clark. Kicked a spectacular score against Donegal as well in the Ulster semi-final, and he can score. One between them again.
He's had a great start to the game because he's really been, on top of things on his own full back line. Hasn't really allowed Donny to get a look at the ball yet, and that ball came into his hands very, very quickly. He literally had half a second to look up, see the post, and he popped it over really, really splendidly. That was a great score.
Brendan Keeley just trying to pop that ball in front of Brian Sheehan. A little bit too much on it though. And possession back to Tyrone. Man on the ball is Matty Donnelly. Plays his club football with Trillick. Again, Darren McCurry using his pace to get away from Mark O'Shea. Here's McMenamin. Closed down quickly by Paul Galvin. And now Owen Mulligan's turn to fill in as playmaker. Everybody inside, tightly marked. Nothing on for Ronan McNamee, who shoots for the score. Never got hold of it. And that's Tyrone's third wide.
Yeah, and that's what you would call speculative in the extreme. I mean, again, like his full-back Conor Clark a moment ago, he looked up, saw the post, but, he was 40 yards out. There wasn't much happening inside, and it's interesting that when Tyrone have the ball so deep, they've got the old man, Owen Mulligan, and the young kid, Darren McCurry up front. It's a two-man full-forward line. But it's tough for McCurry because he's playing on Mark O'Shea, so it's some baptism for him in his opening game for Tyrone to be playing the likes of Mark O'Shea.
Tyrone try to run the ball hard to Mark Donnelly. Off the ball, a couple of players getting wrapped up in each other. David Coldrick lets play continue. This game, though, is simmering away as the whistle sounds for a foul on Anthony Maher. And now David Coldrick, I think, is going to go back and perhaps talk to his umpires and find out what exactly happened.
Well, there's a lot of activity off the ball, but nothing so far that looks extreme. It's what we would have expected from a Tyrone-Kerry championship clash. So there hasn't been anything that really has raised the heckles of the crowd so far. It's just a normal noise coming off the people in Fitzgerald Stadium.
Well, he's a very experienced referee, David Coldrick. Took charge of the All-Ireland final a couple of years ago. And he has tracked down Shane Enright from Kerry, Martin Penrose from Tyrone, who were doing a bit of pushing and pulling and dragging. And by the looks of things, cards are on the way.
Shane Enright needs to stay very, very close to Martin Penrose, and obviously, they were getting a little bit too close there. But again, it wasn't very extreme. And I think David Coldrick, more than anything else, just wants to keep a lid on anything that might occur in the early stage of this game. But so far it's been very clean and very sporting, in my opinion.
So 3 yellows now, and the game will restart with a free to Kerry. Brian Sheehan scanning the horizon, goes short to Declan O'Sullivan. He's got Ryan McMenamin for company, and now Mark Donnelly moving in as well. O'Sullivan very comfortable on the ball, back to Tomas O'Shea, quick look up, again he's looking for Donaghy's corner. Manoeuvres himself out in front of Conor Clark. Donaghy, who hasn't scored in the championship yet this summer, taken off in Kerry's last 2 games as well, trying to find form here this evening. Donncha Walsh back out to Tomas O'Shea once more. Kerry probing patiently. O'Shea now knocking it towards the post, but no real conviction in it. And that's a second wide for Kerry. I think maybe Tomas O'Shea's patience running out there.
I think it was. I mean, I think he fancied his chances. Maybe he felt the wind was at his back, but it wasn't really. But interestingly there, Kieran Donaghy has got possession 2 or 3 times in the corner, but on that occasion he actually was right in front of the Tyrone goal, right on the small square, and Tomas O'Shea should have just dropped the ball into him. Paul Galvin hitting the ground there.
And it was Ronan McNamee who had his hands raised. Crowd reacted very quickly, and he is in trouble here. David Coldrick saw it. The only question, I think, could be the action he'll take. Well, in fact, Ronan McNamee gets away with a stern talking to,
and a lucky man, because he didn't hurt him, he didn't hit Galvin didn't need to hit the ground, but you can't grab a player by the face like that. Just can't do that in this game.
Well, that's a couple of times now players have had their hands raised. Kieran Donaghy early on, Ronan McNamee there, and again there's some play acting going on off the ball. David Coldrick trying to keep one eye on that and one eye on James O'Donoghue as he drives towards goal, stopped by Penrose. Kerry get the free. Well, there's an awful lot going on all around the field, and David Coldrick, Liam, has his work cut out.
He did there. He was a man under pressure there as Kerry were attacking. It's breaking out a little bit now, but he's had a good game, David Coldrick. He's kept a lid on everything. The players just need to calm down. You had a situation there where Paul Galvin and McNamee were having a little bit of afters after the previous scuffle, and they both hit the ground, but there was nobody throwing punches or laying into one another. So David Coldrick just needs to take charge of it as quickly as possible.
Well, that noise you can hear in the background is the noise of more than 20,000 Kerry supporters as David Coldrick goes in to talk once again to Paul Galvin and Ronan McNamee.
And we said about 10 minutes ago, Mike, you could see that Tyrone didn't get off to a great start. They have up the physical stakes. They want to get in and get aggressive with Kerry. And the important thing that Jack O'Connor really should be getting word out to his players is that Kerry have got off to a great start in this game. They do not need to become involved in fisticuffs or any of that sort of activity. If they play the game, they should be in a good position by half-time.
Well, they're having a very long, drawn-out conversation. No score now for Kerry since the 6th minute. They're still leading by 1 though, as a game tries to break out here in Killarney. And yellows all round. 5 in total now. We haven't played 20 minutes yet.
No, and I think David Coldrick he's shown the yellow card a few occasions. He probably didn't need to show as many as 5 yellow cards, but I do think he's aware as much as anybody this game could explode, and he wants to avoid that at all costs.
Next 2 players up are Kieran Donaghy and Conor Clark by the looks of things. Colm Kavanagh is the player on the right of your picture. And 2 more yellows.
The danger here, Mike, is that there's been 7 yellows now. We think it's at 7, and 1 or 2 of those players are going to be paying a price for that, mainly later on in the game, for actions that could easily have been avoided.
And 3 of those yellow cards have gone to Kerry, 4 to Tyrone. And what odds now on this game finishing 15 aside? As at long last, Brian Sheehan, who's been standing over this free for what seems like an eternity, tries to compose himself. David Coldrick trying to take up the best possible position to see everything as Brian Sheehan taps that over the bar, his second. Double scores after 21 minutes. It's advantage Kerry so far. And
magnificent from Brian Sheehan. I mean, that's what Kerry need from Brian Sheehan. They need him to be popping over 2 out of 3 of all of those sort of chances. Another player on the ground now, and it's Brian Sheehan who's talking to the referee, David Coldrick, this time, just after getting that second free.
David Coldrick just gesturing to Brian Sheehan there that challenge was frontal. And indeed it was. Conor Gormley caught as he tried to step away from Sheehan. No yellow card as far as we can tell. Just a quick word with Brian Sheehan.
Not sure why Conor Gormley is spending so much time down. He certainly got him on the chest. He didn't seem to have that much power behind him, so I don't know, maybe Conor Gormley wants to take a breather, take some water on board. This is also suiting Tyrone, because after Brian Sheehan popped that ball over the bar, you could really feel that Kerry again could get in the ascendancy. They are in charge of this game. They are playing most of the good football, and as I said a moment ago, Tyrone have brought them into a physical confrontation, and Kerry need to keep on just playing ball.
Game restarted by Sean O'Neill. Here's Ryan McMenamin moving onto that ball at pace. Plenty of room out on that left-hand side for Matty Donnelly, who scampers away from Tomás O'Shea. O'Shea now trying to set himself. Donnelly, quick look up. The angle is very tight. He's gone for it. Umpires took a moment just to make up their minds. Wide on his own side. Very ambitious kick from Matty Donnelly, but he obviously felt it was on.
I think that's all he felt he could do, because the Kerry defence are tightened up a lot since the first 10 minutes, and he didn't see anything else in front of him. They are dependent on that full forward line, 2-man full forward line, as we said. If the young McCurry and Owen Mulligan, but there's not a lot of room opening up for either player.
Pretty obvious push in the back there from Colm Kavanagh, and Kerry have the free. 10 minutes now since Tyrone scored. Anthony Maher from the Dua club, 1 man to aim at inside. It's big Kieran Donaghy. Cooper peeling around on the overlap, driving through, denied by the post. Well, that would have been the score of the match from Kerry. hitting that full forward line early, and Cooper coming in on the end of it.
It's a classic Cooper and Donaghy move, and you know, it was a costly miss because it was a very easy score for Cooper to pop over the bar with his fist.
Ryan McMenamin looking for Darren McCurry's corner. The teenager from Eden Dork back to Mulligan, and now Colm Kavanagh trying to build up a head of steam as Paul Galvin is shrugged aside. Here's McCurry again. Tyrone taking the scenic route as Mark Donnelly set up Mulligan, but the hand pass was just thrown in the general direction of Matty Donnelly. He's picked up a knock, and Kerry come clear. Man driving onto this ball is Tomás O'Shea. Uses the fist to give it to Cooper. Donaghy's inside, making run after run, trying to get free. Donncha Walsh. James O'Donoghue wants it and gets it. The cover pressing up as O'Donoghue kicks high, and that's gone over the bar. First point of the match for James O'Donoghue from the Legion Club just outside Killarney. Kerry lead by 3.
Great score from James O'Donoghue, and interestingly, you know, it was an extra important for Kerry because there were 8 Tyrone defenders inside the 50-yard line and 4 Kerry forward. So for James O'Donoghue to find any room to put the ball onto his left foot was achievement enough, but he actually put it over the bar beautifully. Great score.
Matty Donnelly still down injured, but here's that chance for Colm Cooper. He'll be desperately disappointed not to score from there.
He won't know how he missed that. It was a very, very important chance. It would make 4 points between the teams, and 4 points on an occasion like this would be a huge difference because, you know, we've said at the start, Kerry look the team who have a little bit of a pep in their stride. They're playing the better football, and any time Tyrone get the ball up the other end, there's a bluntness to their attack. They just don't seem to be able to create any really good goal scoring chances, and they're taking pot shots at points.
And the statistic to illustrate that point, Tyrone outscored in the last 23 minutes by 4 points to 1. Jack O'Connor will be quite pleased, Liam, at this stage.
Oh, very happy, I'd say, Mike. You know, he's seen the players come out. They really have hit the ground running. And, you know, Kerry have laboured through this summer so far, and they were very, very lucky last weekend against Westmeath. But the players do seem to have responded, you know, to that get-out-of-jail card. And they really are dominant right throughout the field so far. I mean, Tyrone are holding on more than anything else, and Tyrone will be quite happy to get the half-time with a 3 or 4 point difference.
And in case you joined us late, Stephen O'Neill, of course, not playing for Tyrone. Failed a late fitness test, and his absence really being felt as Anthony Maher again claims possession. Pops it back to Tomás O'Shea. Down the line to the point scorer, James O'Donoghue. He's a real live wire. His first instinct is to take on his man. Here's Donaghy making an angle for himself. Denied by the post. Well, Colm Cooper was loitering with intent. Just guessed the wrong way there, but it could have been a real problem for Tyrone. Kerry now attacking in waves.
Second time they've hit that same post, so it's unfortunate for Kerry, but Donaghy has got off to a good start. Nothing spectacular from him, but he does look lively, and he does look like he's getting his confidence back.
Man on the ball for Tyrone is Mark Donnelly, trying to burrow his way through. Ball just spilled in contact, and back goes Declan O'Sullivan. Outside to Cooper. Look where he is, just inside his own half. Numbers mean absolutely nothing on an evening like this. Race on here between Aidan McRory and James O'Donoghue, and McRory was being fouled, and respite for Tyrone.
But there was so much room in there. If he had got ahead of his man, James O'Donoghue, there just would have had Donaghy inside him. So I mean, Kerry are opening up the Tyrone defence and creating lots of, you know, potential goal scoring chances, and they're also putting over their points.
Conor Gormley, quick look up to spot where Darren McCurry is, being shadowed by Mark O'Shea, putting the squeeze on, and Kerry have the ball back. Flicked through the hands by Brosnan to Donncha Walsh. Now Kerry use the open spaces. O'Donoghue gets out in front of his man, that's Aidan McRory. Paul Galvin. Loose man in that corner is Donncha Walsh. Nobody making a run for him. He's got to hold it up. And the snapshot under pressure, never going to trouble Pascal McConnell or indeed the umpires.
That's 3 chances really in the last 5 minutes that Kerry, have missed points chances, and they're going to count. They could be counting those misses, because they could be 6 or 7 points up now if they actually had taken a little bit more care. And certainly in that stage, that ball should have been worked in closer to goal.
Now Owen Mulligan yet to really get into this game, out in front of Aidan O'Mahony. O'Mahony watching his every move. Again, the angle is tight, too tight. Tyrone's 5th wide as Aidan O'Mahony and Owen Mulligan exchange pleasantries.
I would assume Aidan O'Mahony is pouring some salt into Owen Mulligan's wound at that stage, and Owen Mulligan has seen the funny side of it, but the best way Owen Mulligan can respond to that is to make sure he gets the next ball and make sure he gets around his man.
16 minutes and counting now since Tyrone last scored. A lot of pushing and shoving and banging around midfield.
Seemed awkward more than anything else. Anthony Mars got off to a great start and is really featuring as the main presence in the middle of the field.
O'Sullivan pulling all the strings, drops that one onto the chest of Donaghy. Sheehan makes a break inside, but Donaghy doesn't continue the run. Sheehan goes it alone, forced the shot, and it's dragged on the breeze well wide.
And that's ragged stuff from Kerry. That's 4 chances now that they have really thrown away, and in that situation, you would expect someone like Declan O'Sullivan to be making a penetrating run down the middle to get on the end of that ball from Brian Sheehan, but he had a shot at goal, but it drifted badly wide.
They certainly have created plenty of scoring chances, Kerry, taken just 5 of them though. And remember, they are playing with the aid of whatever breeze there is. Declan O'Sullivan steadies up, takes aim, pulls the trigger and sends it sailing over the bar. Much better from Kerry. His second. They now lead by 4.
His second, and they badly needed that score, because you know what, if Kerry kept on missing and throwing away those chances, their heads might drop. But what they want to do is they really want to keep the foot down up to half-time, and that was just Declan O'Sullivan at his best. He's such a measured, balanced, beautiful-looking player when he's on the ball like that.
Making his 57th championship appearance this evening. An awful lot of big match know-how, as is this man, Brian Sheehan. Here's Shane Enright, and now Cooper drills it into Donaghy. They have an almost telepathic understanding on the good evenings. Back to Galvin. The crowd roar to greet that score. Galvin's first of the match. The lead has grown to 5, and some daylight now starting to open up.
Piece of tidy brilliance by Paul Galvin there, putting the ball over with his left foot. Nicely worked to him from Kieran Donaghy as well, but you got to say, on occasions like that, when Donaghy wins the ball inside the large square, he needs to take on his man. If he's to build up his own confidence levels, he needs to take on his own man, get fouled or get around that man and go for goal.
5 of Kerry's 7 points have come from open play, as Ryan McMenamin receives some running repairs. David Coldrick wants the game to continue.
And I think Tyrone would be quite happy if the half-time whistle came sooner rather than later. I mean, Peter Canavan talked about Tyrone intensity being so necessary before the game, but really it's Kerry who have brought all the intensity to this first half.
Well, it's a real cauldron of excitement here in Killarney. Everybody is up for this. Here's Cooper. That is superb. His second. They're starting to open their shoulders now and move through the gears. They've gone 6 points clear. That was sublime. And
a treat to watch. I mean, what can a defender do in a case like that when Colin Cooper gets the ball? The balance is just so incredible that he just switches feet straight away, and the ball is over the bar before his man even has time to look back. Superb from Cooper.
Well, they've never lost a match in the All-Ireland qualifiers, Kerry. 9 games and counting. As Tyrone are forced to make a change, Damien McCall is in, as Tomás O'Shea goes for glory off his weaker left foot. And the adrenaline pumping, O'Shea wanted a piece of the action, instead clocks up Kerry's 4th wide.
And certainly a little bit more caution from Tomás O'Shea would have been warranted there, but the pressure now really is on Tyrone. And what we heard last weekend, that Mickey Hart made an impassioned personal plea to his players at half-time to win that game against Roscommon last weekend for him, and he's going to have to make the same sort of plea to his players on this occasion.
Kerry have hit the last 5 points of the match. 20 minutes since we saw Tyrone score. And you'll have seen there a moment ago, Aidan Cassidy is getting ready to come in. As we tick into the final minute of normal time at the end of this first half, but we will have quite a considerable chunk of stoppage time, you'd have to think. Here's McCurry, first chance for him to get a glance at the goalposts, and he splits them with ease.
Very, very smart from the young man too, Mike, and that's the first real opportunity where he got to turn, Mark O'Shea. He's playing one of the most experienced, one of the best defenders in the country over the last decade, so it's going to be really tough for the young man, but McCurry really showed, that he did have a head for goal on that occasion.
Well, Matty Donnelly has been taken off by Tyrone, and Aidan Cassidy's in. Mickey Hart feels it's time to shake things up, and well he might. His team have fallen 5 points behind. And every minute counts. And
lucky to be 5. Very, very lucky to be 5. I mean, Kerry could be 7, 8, 9 points ahead at this stage because they've really played all the good football in this first half.
This time it's Maher delivering the Gary Owen. Donaghy trying to hang in the air, but just slipped through his hands, and Conor Gormley is there to sweep it up for Tyrone. Man making a break is the new man, Damien McCall, just in off the bench. Stopped by Galvin. Did he fall or was he pushed? David Coldrick says play away. McCall has stayed forward, takes the pass from Mark Donnelly. Owen Mulligan did well to spot Aidan Cassidy, who is fouled as he tried to drive through. And Tyrone have got what they came for, a scoring opportunity.
Yeah, silly free to give away by Kerry there as well, because you had men back. It's a defender is coming forward, so again, if you're taking the benefit of the doubt, you would assume that the defender isn't likely to pop it over the bar every time. So it was a costly free for Kerry to give away, and you would assume that Martin Penrose is going to bring it back to 4 points now.
He's Tyrone's leading scorer in the championship. Hasn't hit the target just yet, and that's his first of the night. Double scores. We're in first half stoppage time. We'll have at least 4 minutes of additional time. Plenty of time for Tyrone perhaps to eat into this deficit. Keeley smacks it out towards Sheehan, gathered by Colm Kavanagh. Trying to keep Tyrone on the front foot, but that's very neat and tidy from Shane Enright. Places club football with Tarbert down the line towards Donegal Walsh. Does well to hold off Sean O'Neill. Needs support. Cooper manages to slip away from Conor Gormley. Buys himself some time and space. And Cooper fouled, I do believe, just after he released that ball. Kerry have got the free. And again, that decision is being contested.
Yeah, Cooper, he was fouled, and it's a situation in that where Kieran Donny, Conor Gormley came in afterwards, gave him a push. It wasn't that much. I think Colm Cooper made the most of it, and certainly Kieran Donny should have, minded his own business. He didn't need to go out and start, causing further agitation, because that's only playing into Tyrone's hands.
And of course, Conor Gormley is already on a yellow card and is walking a very thin line now.
But there wasn't much in it. I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe Cooper fell badly or something, but he just pushed him very gently. I thought it wasn't very Conor Gormley-like. Put it that way. We've seen him hit men harder. Here we go again. Cooper just played the ball off. Yeah, I think Cooper put his hand to his head, but I don't think there was much in it, Mike.
Colm Cooper back on his feet again, and by the way he's shaping up here, is giving serious consideration to having a shot at goal. No, instead spots something out of the corner of his eye. Kerry will try and work a more favourable angle. Killian Young. This is Tomás O'Shea. Almost everybody running towards the Moss O'Shea there. Kieran Donaghy is doing his level best to get free inside, and Killian Young is popping it in towards him, but it was overcooked, and Donaghy knows it.
Bad ball into Donaghy there, but I can see why Donaghy is frustrated and why he did get involved in the last instance, I suppose, because he's doing a lot of running off the ball and he's making very good runs. Unfortunately, the ball is coming in late, badly as it was there, but also he's spending a lot of time in the small square, and it's surprising that Kerry aren't just floating the ball into him more.
Just noticing that Declan O'Sullivan has been moved in closer to goal now, just to keep the Tyrone defence thinking. Killian Young creeping up from the half-back line, and just as he was considering his options, David Coldrick says enough is enough. It's half-time here at Fitzgerald Stadium in Killarney, and Kerry hit the dressing rooms with a spring in their step. Not over yet though. Kerry lead Tyrone by 8 points to 4.
We've got another fantastic month of live sport this August. Conference football returns as the Blue Square season kicks off.
Well, that's excellent, and there's the breakthrough.
The NRL regular season enters its final round.
Towards the end goal, better than that.
What a try!
All the quarter and semi-finals of the All-Ireland Championship live.
What a cracker!
NASCAR continues with 4 more live races.
Who's going to win it?
To the line. He got it, Russ. He got it.
And the new Argentinian football season gets underway. All this and more this August. Live Cooperative Championship 1 Rugby League Thursday. 2 of this season's leading promotion hopefuls meet at Keepmoat Stadium as Doncaster and Workington Town go head-to-head.
How good was that? A sleight of hand, a skip of foot.
Plus, don't miss our pre-game coverage with exclusive news and interviews from around the championships. Live Championship 1 Rugby League this Thursday from 7.
He senses his moment in close. Oh,
Quality shot.
Big quality shot. And he's done it. He's in trouble.
I don't know if he's going to recover from that.
Welcome back. Almost ready to go for this second half. 20 degrees at the moment here in Killarney. And Liam, you were making the point there during half-time. That's going to take its toll as this second half wears on. It's going to ask a lot of questions of the players' conditioning.
Oh, definitely, because the players haven't been playing in that sort of heat over the last few weeks, and they haven't been playing a game of this intensity, of this sort of championship quality in that heat. So you put the two of those together and you will see players getting very, very tired by the end of this.
No changes from what we can see on either side. As Peter mentioned there, Mickey Hart did make those couple of switches before the break. Damien McCall and Aidan Cassidy coming in to freshen things up. Kerry, who haven't lost a championship game here in Killarney since 1995, they'll play from left to right in this second half. They're defending a 4-point lead and also defending that unbeaten record, of course, in the qualifiers. Prize on offer for the winners, a place in round 4 next weekend. Anthony Maher. Again, he goes the direct route in towards Donaghy. He's a very hard man to handle when he's in the mood. 3 players around him. 1 possession, 1 the free, and a clenched fist towards the crowd on that far side.
That's Kieran Donaghy at his very best, and that's the sort of player we saw several years ago when he won Footballer of the Year. And when he does take his men on, he is a very, very hard player to stop, and that's what we were saying in the first half. He really should be, when he's got the ball one-on-one with his own man. On that occasion there were 3 men around him, but when he's one-on-one, he should be taking his man on every second or third occasion.
Declan O'Sullivan just trying to shield Brian Sheehan, by the looks of things, from Ryan McMenamin's intervention. Sheehan looking for his 3rd point of the match. They've all come from frees, they all count. And Kerry stretched their lead. He's a very polished free taker, Brian Sheehan.
he's just immaculate. I mean, he's just got the perfect stance, the perfect balance, and he's got a great foot on him. He can put that ball so far, but just tipped it over nicely there.
Tyrone, interestingly, still playing Peter Hart as that auxiliary centre-back. Hasn't really been able, though, to get on the ball and make things happen as much as Tyrone would like. Mark Donnelly fouled on that far side, and Martin Penrose it is who takes charge of the situation. Kerry have blocked up most of the avenues of attack. This is Sean O'Neill. Now Colm Kavanagh. Darren McCurry, who at times has been operating almost in a one-man full forward line, shepherded by Mark O'Shea. Aidan Cassidy looking to link up with Conor Gormley. Here's Mulligan. Now Ryan McMenamin, who had stayed forward, flicks it fairly nonchalantly back to Cassidy, who's broken through, and Aidan Cassidy flashes that shot up and over the bar. Well, from absolutely nothing, all of a sudden Cassidy was in the clear and very nearly in on goal.
Very smart layoff by Ryan McMenamin there as he was going down. He thought of maybe claiming a free or looking for a free, but he actually saw Aidan Cassidy inside, and that was a real good goal scoring chance. Cassidy really should have kept that low. That's a chance that, you know, Tyrone really had to get back into this game with a bang.
So Aidan Cassidy, who came off the bench against both Donegal and Roscommon in the championship, opens his account here in Killarney. And this game still very much there for the taking. Anthony Maher delayed the pass, and Conor Gormley was in to get a touch, and now Peter Hart. Ryan McMenamin to Owen Mulligan. Hasn't really had a chance yet to express himself in this game. Here's McCurry, only joined the Tyrone panel 6 weeks ago. Here he is mixing it with the biggest guns on them all. Back to Mulligan. And the reaction of the Kerry crowd will tell you all you need to know. That is Tyrone's 6th wide.
In that case, I think he was right to go for it. You know, he is one of their, you know, top point scoring forwards, and he got inside his man, he got room, he got a good look at the goalpost, but the ball just never swung for him. It's been a frustrating afternoon for Owen Mulligan.
Kerry, of course, this evening bidding to beat Tyrone in the championship for the first time since the All-Ireland final of 1986. The day of Pat Spillan's spectacular goal. Tomas O'Shea to Declan O'Sullivan. Two of the old stagers. O'Sullivan turns away in delight. From the moment it left his boot, he just knew that's his 3rd point from play. And the perfect response from Kerry.
Perfect response, and it's Declan O'Sullivan at his very best, you know. He is such a beautiful player to watch, great balance, and when he gets his eye on goals, you know, he can pop those balls. That just looks so easy from 30 yards out, but that was a difficult chance.
And Kerry keeping Tyrone at arm's length.
He's back to something like his best out, Declan O'Sullivan. He's really playmaking for Kerry and getting on the end of good ball.
Well, that kick out from Pascal McConnell had to be a precision strike. Dropped it out to Conor Gormley, who was surrounded by a swarm of Kerry forwards. But it's all worked out.
They need to be careful. Donaghy was quite legit challenge from Kieran Donaghy there. Paul Galvin should have walked away because there's a few Kerry men with yellow cards and they just want to be careful.
Donaghy, the look away pass to Galvin. Donaghy again, another flick inside towards Cooper, and Colm Cooper is not best pleased that that pass didn't go to hand. I think he had his mind made up about his next move, but pass didn't stick. Good covering by Donegal Walsh. Working himself to a standstill. Looked to throw that ball. David Coldrick, I think, feels it spilled out of his grasp. And because Aidan Cassidy didn't retreat quickly enough, Kerry gets some extra yardage. Kerry now trying to force the pace and the tempo again. Here's Tomas O'Shea. Paul Galvin in no hurry to kick this ball away. Tyrone side trying to set up that defensive screen as O'Shea in towards Donaghy. Conor Clark, sure-footed again. Needed that tackle to be crisp and clean, and it was. This is Aidan Cassidy. Mark Donnelly. He had room there for just a moment. Now Mulligan. Peter Hart. Kerry have funneled back, and now Peter Hart has some work to do. Stopped by Enright. There is simply no way through, and Mulligan has to go back out to Ryan McMenamin. Now they try their luck down along this left-hand side. McCurry, quick look up. That looks good. Very close and well taken by Keeley. Just hadn't the legs. McCurry taking the shot on.
Good effort from McCurry, but you've got to say, Mike, what spectacular defending from Kerry there. To a man, they've been rock solid in defence in the first half, and they look just as strong at the start of this second.
Very much one for all for one from Kerry so far. Defending as a unit, attacking in waves. As this latest pass is cut out back there by Joe McMahon. Well, it's energy sapping stuff. On a beautiful day here in Killarney. Now Conor Gormley trying to break the line. He's got McMahon on his shoulder. McMahon makes an angle. He's gone for it. Good stop by Keeley. But it's in the net. Tyrone have got the first goal, and they're right back in the match. Keeley's initial save deflected into the path of Conor Gormley, and it's bundled into the net.
Well, it won't win goal of the year, that's for sure. But you know what? McMahon and Gormley, they came forward together. They worked hard. Very, very lucky to get a bounce. Joe McMahon went it on the left foot. Great save by Keeley, but you know, Conor Gormley, you've got to say he was right man, the right place. And he's been coming forward a lot all through the game. So if anybody deserved to get a lucky goal, it was probably Conor Gormley.
Well, it's game on here in Killarney in every sense. That's a real lifeline for Tyrone, and it's all kicked off again out around the middle of the field.
It is, yeah, and you know, referee's been very, very careful to keep a lid on things in the first half. That's why he gave out the 7 yellows. He's going to have to keep a very close look on it, because you know, this game could spill over at any stage. You can feel it in the ground. There's a real nervous tension right throughout the whole ground.
David Coldrick just speaking to his linesman Michael Duffy. Conor Gormley there reacting after the goal went in. Moss O'Shea didn't appreciate it.
Yeah, not necessarily Conor Gormley. You got your goal, you should just run back out to the field. There's no point, you know, rubbing salt into it and further, you know, having a go at your man in that situation.
Well, the two players who have been called in are Mark O'Shea and Darren McCurry. It could have been any one of a number of players singled out. There were flash points all over the place.
That's what I was going to say, Mike. It's going to be whoever gets sent off, if somebody gets sent off in the second half. They're going to be a little bit unfortunate, because it could be anybody, the way this game is going.
There are yellow cards, numbers 8 and 9. But the important statistic is that with 25 minutes to go, the gap is back to 2 points, and Tyrone have not gone away just yet.
And they can count themselves fortunate, you know. Again, they've somewhat laboured in the first 10 minutes of the second half. Joe McMahon and Conor Gormley really worked the ball well up the field that time to bring Tyrone right back into the game. But they've got to press on now, Tyrone, because they have Kerry right in form.
Spectacular catch by Brian Sheehan, and he sets Declan O'Sullivan away. This is Colm Cooper. Great vision to spot Sheehan. He's got Donaghy roaring for it. Donaghy jumps, and Donaghy scores. Fitzgerald Stadium erupts. Donaghy thanks Sheehan for the pass. Kerry strike back.
And what a response. You know, and you've got to say, you know, if Kerry really wanted to put the nail in this game, to come back straight after that Tyrone goal, and for Kieran Donaghy, you know, to get his hands on it. He's worked so hard this afternoon. Was he in the square? I don't know. He was coming in. He may have been thereabouts, but it would have been a marginal and very difficult call for the referee to make.
Well, once that ball was played from Brian Sheehan, once it left his fist, Donaghy entitled to be in the square. He was moving at pace, and the goal stands, and Kerry lead by 5 again.
Kerry lead by 5, and they still deserve to lead by 5. And you know, that goal really could ignite Kieran Donaghy's season. He's been working so hard this afternoon. He just needs a little bit of luck. Found himself in the right place, got on the end of Brian Sheehan's punched ball across, and it was a good goal.
And what a time, what a way to get your first score of the championship. That goal from Donaghy opens his account as Tyrone respond at the other end through Sean O'Neill from Dromore, up from wing back. And that score, crucial, just to keep that scoreboard moving.
And important, and you've got defenders popping up to get the scores for Tyrone. They need defenders because they don't have much room up front.
And while all of that drama was going on, Stephen O'Neill has been sprung from the Tyrone bench. Didn't start due to an injury that also kept him out of the game against Roscommon last weekend. He's in with a little over 20 minutes to go. It's all hands to the pump now for Tyrone. James O'Donoghue from a standing start clips it across towards Cooper, darting here and there, gets his shot in, but it's caught on the breeze. Crowd trying to will it between the posts.
He did the right thing there, Colin Cooper. He had the time, had the room. Ball just swung wide on him. Here's the goal again when Joe McMahon, you know, had a good effort with his left foot, and Conor Gormley just the right man in the right place. He was coming in there, Kieran Donaghy, right in the small square, but the referee would have to give him the benefit of the doubt because he was moving. There was movement.
Well, 2 goals in the space of 3 second-half minutes have brought this game to life. Cooper spins it to Donaghy, back to O'Donoghue, and that's gone over as well. Cooper, Donaghy and O'Donoghue linking up beautifully in that Kerry full forward line, and very little Tyrone could do about that.
Yeah, that's James Donaghue's second score, second point, but you know what, he's had probably his best display so far in the Kerry jersey. He's got an amount of ball, he's been working off the ball, and there he linked up brilliantly with Cooper and Donaghy. And
here comes the cavalry for Kerry. Darren O'Sullivan, who has been visiting the Shannon Cryotherapy Centre during the week, receiving intensive treatment on a hamstring problem. He's in for the final quarter, and Donncha Walsh is the man to make way. A very impressive replacement to have in your locker. Darren O'Sullivan, former All-Ireland winning Kerry captain, and the man whose goal against Westmeath last weekend changed everything in Mullingar. A crunching challenge there. Owen Mulligan and Aidan O'Mahony meeting at close quarters. Tomas O'Shea, a good old-fashioned drive down the field, and away goes O'Sullivan. He's got pace to burn. O'Sullivan inside to Cooper. They're sniffing for the goal. Cooper takes the point. That was vintage Kerry. Cooper's third point. It all came from that punt downfield from Tomas O'Shea, and there is just no substitute for pace.
It was a punt downfield, but also it had good accuracy to it. It got Darren O'Sullivan right on his stride, and he played a clever ball over to Donaghy. It was good to see Darren O'Sullivan play the ball off so swift there.
Colm Cooper thought for a moment he was in again on goal, but David Coldrick's whistle had sounded.
There's a real liveliness to everything about Kerry, and Darren O'Sullivan, as anything, just up the ante for every other Kerry player to keep going and to really push on right to the end.
Kerry, of course, who beat Tipperary on their first day out in the Munster Championship pretty unconvincingly, then lost out to Cork in the provincial semi-final. Now find themselves trying to take the scenic route to the All-Ireland quarter-finals. Mark Donnelly had very little option there. Everybody tightly marked, went for his own score, hasn't got it, and now Kerry try and break at pace. That's a foul on Declan O'Sullivan, and Ryan McMenamin is being called back by the referee. No doubt about the free. Ryan McMenamin gets away with a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, and he had no option but to pull Declan O'Sullivan back there. If O'Sullivan had got some yards on him, then again the Tyrone defence probably would have been opened up once more.
Well, it's roundabout now. The push will come to shove with 20 minutes to go. Kerry slow the game down to almost walking pace. Brian Sheehan, nobody moving an inch inside for him. Kerry sitting on a 6-point cushion as Brosnan eventually drills it in towards Donaghy. Coming at pace is Cooper. Now he's moving, trying there to lull the Tyrone defence into a false sense of security. Good defensive work though by Tyrone.
Solid defence, but Tyrone needs some more magic to work in their favour, Mike. And when you look out there at the Tyrone team, you wonder where it's going to come from. Joe McMahon a little bit wild with the elbow there, but what I was going to say is that when you look at the Tyrone team and you see the likes of Peter Hart, who was so spectacular coming from deep during the winter playing centre back, and he's been a ghost-like figure for Tyrone through the summer so far as they play him up front and have him wandering around the field.
Well, just looking down towards the Tyrone forward line, there's very little shape or make to it right now, playing almost a one-man full forward line with the half forwards playing very deep as well, trying to attack from inside their own half.
You've got to ask, where is that bit of magic going to come from? It just doesn't look to be happening for anybody in Tyrone. Stephen O'Neill's now in, he's finding just how tight that Kerry defence is.
Stephen O'Neill being forced to battle for every yard as that free is delivered in towards the Kerry goal. Brendan Keeley wearing a baseball cap for this second half, the sunshine blazing right down into his eyes as Kerry get it clear. Possession for Killian Young from Reynard to Donaghy. Anthony Maher, and all the way across to Shane Enright, man who forced his way into the first 15 for this game. Now Declan O'Sullivan coming from a wing back position. Colm Cooper breaks away from the edge of the square, making space in behind him as Galvin tries to ferry it forward. James O'Donoghue telegraphed his intentions, and possession robbed back by Aidan Cassidy. Again, good disciplined defensive work from Tyrone. Now they've ran down a blind alley. Darren O'Sullivan has won the free, and that passage of play that went from end to end finally peters out.
A little bit laboured as well though. You know, Tyrone, if they really want to take this game to Kerry, they've got to drive it down the throat of the Kerry team, and they've got to drive it down the throat of the Kerry defence, because the Kerry defence, it just looks so solid from the very start. And when we look at Peter Hart there, get the latest player to get a yellow card, you know, that's where Mickey Hart should be hoping that, you know, they're going to actually be able to take hold of this game. Someone like Hart really has to power forward. At the moment we're looking at Conor Gormley going forward, but Gormley has old legs and he's not able to drive through the Kerry defence like Peter Hart could.
And Peter Hart has the dubious distinction of getting the 10th yellow card of the match. Ryan McMenamin, can he inspire a Tyrone revival? He has been fouled as he released that ball, and he didn't like the way Colm Cooper came in across him. Understandable, I suppose, with 15 minutes to go. Some frustration now beginning to creep into the Tyrone play. They are chasing Kerry as hard as they can.
It's a great deal of frustration, but Kieran Donaghy just doesn't need to be there. He's had a fantastic afternoon, you know, one of his best games in over 12 months. He should just keep clear of that. He doesn't need to get involved in any of this amateur theatrics with the Tyrone defence. Someone from Kerry should just be taking him for a walk. Just take Kieran for a walk.
Darren O'Sullivan, I think, endeavouring there to have a quiet word. Mickey Hart and Tyrone are getting ready to make a change as Colm Cooper, the Kerry captain, joins that pretty long list in that little black book. And there is the change that Tyrone have made. Number 21, Brian McGuigan, is in. He is in fact Tyrone's 5th sub. Man who has won 3 All-Ireland medals and 1 All-Star, Brian McGuigan. And Darren McCurry is the man who has been taken out.
He's running out of time, Mickey Hart, and he's also running out of options. And you know, Brian McGuigan is an important card for him to play with 15 minutes to go. But you know, if anybody can open up a defence, Brian McGuigan has done so in the past, but Kerry are just so solid. They look rock solid.
Well, another player hits the deck and the crowd again reacted. Brian McGuigan, who's only on the field a matter of moments, is the Tyrone player involved.
Well, I said he could open up defences, Mike, but I didn't mean him to open up a defender. I meant the defence as a unit as a whole. And again, it was just silly stuff. It's been the sort of silly.
And that's a real hammer blow. A red card for Brian McGuigan. So experienced. So much know-how. All gone.
And
in the blink of an eye.
And we were saying, you know, that was probably Mickey Hart's last big card to play. It was a foolish thing for Brian to do. You know, he was right beside the referee. He wasn't doing any damage to the man. He ran into him, knocked him over. But you was to see that, you know, yeah, he put an elbow into the side of Declan O'Sullivan. I wouldn't say he did very much damage. O'Sullivan went down, but, you know, the referee really has to call a halt to this at some stage. And we said some time ago that somebody was going to get sent off. No, he didn't do any damage to O'Sullivan at all. It was a, you know, it was a poke with his left elbow. He will be one sickened man now sitting in that stand.
Well, Brian McGuigan's face tells its own story. Declan O'Sullivan, when he gets up, is yellow carded. Not quite sure what that was for.
I don't know, unless it was again a yellow card for the amateur theatrics that we've spoken about, because Declan O'Sullivan didn't need to stay down on the ground for that long. He was fine, and you can see there's no bother him at all.
Well, Tyrone have been in some very tight corners down through the years. This is right up there with them. They're down to 14 men. They trail by 6 points, and they've got 12 minutes to save their season and stay in the championship. Kerry, playing in their own backyard, look like they own the place right now.
They do, but how many times have we said that in the last couple of years with Kerry teams, when they do look like they own a game? And this is a real opportunity for Kerry to close out this game, you know, with real confidence and really make certain that they hold on to that 6 point lead, if not extend it.
Well, 11 minutes have come and gone since Tyrone's last score, as Brian Sheehan tries to zone in on this kick. Kicking against the wind and claimed in front of his own goal by Aidan Cassidy. Whistle had sounded for a square ball in any event. Well, believe it or not, Tyrone have played twice as many qualifier matches as Kerry down through the years. They've played 18 in total. They've lost just 2 of them. The last of those defeats coming against Laois 6 years ago. But they are in dire straits right now. Owen Mulligan knows that time is of the essence. Tyrone need to get this game moving. Kerry content to run down the clock. The delivery is from Ryan McMenamin. The intended target is Stephen O'Neill, who had got Mark O'Shea with him every step of the way, breathing down his neck. And the best Tyrone can do is a line ball, which they have somehow contrived to turn over.
When it's not going your way, it's not going your way. And Ryan McMenamin has had a very, very frustrating afternoon.
Well, that was not very clever. Mickey Hart in his 10th season in charge of Tyrone. Last year, the first since he took over that Tyrone failed to win a single trophy. He's got a remarkable record, delivering, of course, those 3 All-Ireland senior titles. But now he can do very little but watch and hope. His 14 men, their backs to the wall as Darren O'Sullivan tries to drive his way through, those legs pumping. The defence have conceded the free, and well might Darren Sullivan permit himself a bit of a smile.
You've got to say both hamstrings were in good working order there as well. Very hard player to stop when he goes, because he's such a small man, low centre of gravity. You know, he could turn inside his man at any stage, and he was about to turn inside O'Neill and really bear down on goal, so the defender didn't really have any option but to pull him back.
That's 13 yellow cards to go with the red for Brian McGuigan. Darren O'Sullivan doing what he does best. And now Colm Cooper steps forward into the spotlight. He was the top scorer in the championship last summer, and he is back in the groove again tonight. Stretches the Kerry lead to 7 with his 4th point. They are making that drive for home.
You would think that's Kerry safely home and through to the 4th round of the qualifiers. But, you know, you've got to say about Tyrone, they are further advanced in rebuilding their team than Kerry. This victory of Kerry's is built on the old guard more than anybody else. That'll satisfy Jack O'Connor, but, you know, Tyrone have a young team and they're just really out of their depth for most of this afternoon to date.
Cooper has as much time as he needs, as much time as he wants, and he slots it over, and it meant an awful lot to him. 5 points for Cooper. The challenge is nowhere to be seen, and he could do that all evening long.
And you can see how sweet, you can feel it right throughout the whole ground here. This victory is for Kerry. This is the game they wanted, and people have been saying all week it's win or bust for Kerry. They need to have a big performance or they need to leave this championship, and they've given us a really big performance.
Well, there's no shortage of cut and thrust to this particular round 3 qualifier, and it's not over yet. Stephen O'Neill has to go for his own score, nothing else on, and that just about sums up Tyrone's evening. 7 wides.
They've never been able, Mike, at any stage from the very first minute to really break down this Kerry defence. I mean, a lot has been said about Jack O'Connor as to whether he's got his team, you know, really in a good frame of mind this year, but I tell you, he built one rock solid defence this afternoon.
And almost 17 minutes now since Tyrone raised a flag of any colour. Kerry, meanwhile, at the other end, have racked up a goal and 10 points from open play. They have made some hay here in the Killarney sunshine. Conor Gormley to Mulligan. Just one Tyrone player inside the Kerry half. That's Peter Hart. Killian Young, though, has a yard or two on him. Makes it count. That whistle eventually came from David Coldrick to signal the free to Kerry. But the absence of target men or anybody in particular in that Tyrone forward line when Mulligan got the ball was alarming, to say the least.
No, the ball was played out right to the very far wing for Peter Hart, and we've seen Peter Hart do very good things for Tyrone in recent months, but it's normally coming when he's tearing down the middle of the field, bearing down on the opponent's goal. We don't know how badly injured Killian Young is there. Certainly Peter Hart landed on him and, you know, stayed with him, but we couldn't be certain how badly injured Killian Young would be in that situation.
Well, Jack O'Connor has used the opportunity to bring in his second sub. Peter Crowley from Lawn Rangers made his championship debut against Tipperary. Very impressive at wing back during the National League, but has had his problems with a hamstring injury. Here he is on the ball. Maybe a little over anxious, and that pass initially lost. But Colm Cooper, who's just a step or two ahead in this second half, retrieves the situation. Diagonal ball towards Donaghy, holding off his man with one hand and scoring with the other. He's starting to enjoy himself again, Kieran Donaghy. Remember, he hadn't scored in the championship coming into this game. He has made all of that right tonight.
He has, and Mikey Sheehy, one of his club mates, was saying during the week that Kieran Donaghy, to get his confidence back, needed to be left on the square and the ball needs to be played into him, and that's just a classic Kieran Donaghy from 4 or 5 years ago when he was Footballer of the Year.
Well, Declan O'Sullivan receiving a very warm round of applause, as is James O'Donoghue as they leave the field. Patrick Curtin and Kieran O'Leary coming in to the Kerry team, and Brian Maguire also arriving in as Jack O'Connor emptied his bench. It's all over bar the shouting.
I think so. I mean, I think Tyrone have given their all. Certainly they got out of jail to a degree in Hyde Park against Roscommon last weekend, and it would seem that they left a lot of themselves, and the team left a lot of themselves, in that ground. They had to really pull back to get that victory last weekend.
Kerry now trying to drive their advantage home. What about that for a first touch from Patrick Curtin from Moyvan? An outstanding county minor, trying to put his hand up perhaps for a place in the starting lineup next time out, and that will certainly have caught Jack O'Connor's eye.
It will. I mean, I think it's just been a great day's work for Kerry, and even the guys coming on now, they can really enjoy lots of room, and they can really put those scores over the bar.
They've outscored Tyrone in this second half 1-8 to 1-2, and really now beginning to streak away. This is Darren O'Sullivan. Colm Cooper gives it to Brian Maguire. Maguire again. Kerry play, keep ball. And every pass now being cheered. They have waited a long, long time to beat Tyrone in the championship, and they are doing it in style. Wide from Kieran O'Leary. He was trying to get a piece of the action, and this not the way anybody would have envisaged Liam, Tyrone's championship coming to an end. As we tick into the final couple of minutes, you can tell us who's your selection for man of the match.
Well, it's been a rock solid defensive performance from Kerry. You could pick out.
Well, just as Liam was preparing to tell us about his selection for man of the match, Patrick Curtin has gone in very high on the Tyrone player who was coming out with the ball there. Colm Kavanagh it was who had shrugged off Kieran O'Leary, but that was very high.
Very high and very dangerous.
And he's in trouble. Brian McGuigan already sent off, and you'd have to think Patrick Curtin is heading the same way.
Oh, he has to go. The referee has no option. Very, very lucky man. I don't think you can watch a player running in like that with his elbow up. That was one of the most dangerous actions we've seen in this game.
Well, the 14th yellow card is shown to Patrick Curtin. Very, very fortunate not to be heading for an early shower. And we'll tell you about Liam's selection for man of the match as soon as things settle down. It has been an eventful evening here in Killarney, no doubt about it. Vintage corner back play from Mark O'Shea, one of the best in the business, pound for pound. He plays the game with such confidence and composure. As Kerry move the ball clear, it looks effortless when they do it like this. 10 points ahead. Darren O'Sullivan just injecting some of that customary pace into the move. Now Galvin. Tomas O'Shea is jogging quite literally into position down along this right hand side. He's got Kieran O'Leary in field, wants his own score on the night. He equals his brother Dara's record for championship appearances, but it's dropped short. And perhaps now, Liam, as good a time as any for you to tell us your selection for man of the match, please.
Well, I was saying, Mike, that the Kerry defence has been outstanding. Any one of two or three players could be selected for man of the match, and equally the old guard up front, Colm Cooper, has been very, very good, and Kieran Donaghy's had his best day in a Kerry jersey probably for 12 months. But I think the two people who have been working throughout, really making things happen for Kerry in the engine room, were Paul Galvin and Declan O'Sullivan, and Paul Galvin would be my selection for man of the match.
Well, there he is, the man of the moment, Paul Galvin. 32 years of age, plays his club football with Fanoog. And once again this evening, the heartbeat of this Kerry team as Tyrone go looking for something, anything to take with them on what will be a very long bus journey home tonight. Again though, nothing doing as Tyrone's attack runs aground on that well organised and well disciplined Kerry defence. We're now well into that second minute of additional time. After that, it will be at the discretion of the referee, David Coldrick. And once more, a chance for Kerry to slow the game down as Joe McMahon came in a little late there on Paul Galvin. Referee saw nothing wrong with it, as the 14 men of Tyrone are left chasing shadows. Their best laid plans have been very much torn asunder, and now Joe McMahon has a case to answer.
He went in late on Paul Galvin and left him on the ground, and you know he has to take his punishment for an action like that, I'm afraid. There's a lot of good work being done by Mickey Hart with this team, but they've lost the Division 2 final in the National League.
The record books will show that Joe McMahon has received the 15th yellow card of this round 3 qualifier. It has been one of those evenings for them. So Brian Sheehan has this opportunity to apply the full stop to the story of this game. It's well within his range, even allowing for the breeze. He had plenty of distance, but at this stage in the game, it's as good as a score. All eyes now on David Coldrick, but no doubt about the outcome. Kerry live to fight another day. This is their first victory over Tyrone for the first time in the championship since 1986. And they are soaking up the moment. They march on to round 4 of the All-Ireland qualifiers next weekend. Tyrone's adventure and their summer is over. They've been beaten on the backdoor route for the first time in 6 years. And a year that promised so much for Mickey Hart and his team has come to an end. Kerry, though, resume normal service. Paul Galvin is man of the match, and Jack O'Connor and his team back on track. It's finished. Kerry 116, Tyrone 1-6.
The excitement of the GAA Championship.